Devastating news last night as former player, captain and manager Keegan was admitted to hospital. His family have released a statement saying he's been having abdominal complaints and it's been revealed that he does have cancer. Everyone was absolutely gutted to hear that news. It was all the talk pre-match, walking up to the ground, but the show of solidarity pre-match, during the match and post-match shows that everyone in the football family and Newcastle United is behind him. There were statements released not only from us but his former clubs Southampton, Hamburg and Liverpool, and his former teams managed other than us in the England national team, Fulham and Manchester City. Everyone is fully behind you, King Kev, as you fight this awful disease. But as football does in its totally crazy nature, it delivered up an absolutely barnstorming game, one that Newcastle United not only come back from once, not twice, but 3 times, and they won a game for leading only 30 seconds last night. Yes, Newcastle United beat Leeds 4-3 in arguably the game of the season, and not just the game of the season, it's arguably one of the games of the decade. So in today's video, I've just about recovered. I want to try and dissect that match, where it went right and where it went badly wrong in so many places, in which has lifted Newcastle United up to 6th place in the table after 3 consecutive wins, and now we're suddenly back in European contention. So let's get on with today's video. Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome back to the Magnificent Mags channel on this very frosty Thursday afternoon. Sun's just over there, it's absolutely gorgeous. I did have my hat on, but it's actually warmed up despite all the frost you can see on the ground. But yeah, I hope you're all well. Has everyone slept? Have you come down from that high of that win last night? Wow, what scenes, what limbs that was. That, like I said at the outset of this video, that was the game of the season in one of the games of the last decade. That had everything. It had drama, it had goals, it had errors, it had bad refereeing decisions, and at the end, it had the best scenes and limbs I have seen at St James's in years. Even the noise, honestly, like I've said before in previous videos, Barcelona was up there in 1997, PSG 2023, and even the League Cup semi-finals against Southampton and Arsenal. But my word, last night was absolutely up there when it came to that last-minute winner. And only football could, in its truly bonkers nature, write a script like it did, something that was truly fitting for our former manager, player and captain in Keegan. So the whole football family and community is behind him, and we'll hope he makes a full recovery. But that game, honestly, that game, what unfolded was like being back as a child, as I was in the 90s. That's why Keegan is up there as one of my favourite managers, as I'm sure he is for most Toon fans. But that game last night had everything in the Keegan DNA. Honestly, it was bonkers. But Eddie Howe only made 2 changes from the win against Crystal Palace. Out went Johan Wissa and Jacob Murphy. Wissa, obviously, there's been the rotation with Voltemada. He doesn't want to play both strikers because if he plays them both and then loses them, then he's got no one. I can understand that thinking now. He's been challenged in his press conference and explained it. And then Jacob Murphy was complaining of hamstring fatigue. So in came Harvey Barnes. And you know what? I actually predicted the team spot on. Miley's been playing as an inverted midfielder, despite being at right back. But last night, Lewis Miley, again, he's playing all over the place. There's nothing that Lewis Miley can't do. He's so intelligent, so composed. And last night, he played right back first half. Then he moved into midfield when the half-time substitutions happened of Tino Livramento and Sven Botman coming on for the ineffective Sandro Tonali and Malik Chow. And then later in the game, when Fabian Schär got that awful ankle injury, Eddie Howe said he's went to hospital. Hopefully that's not his season over because he's out of contract this summer. Hopefully, I'm hoping in secret that he has been given a new contract, but we don't want that to be Fabi's last game, because last night, until he went off, he was a colossus in comparison to Malik Chow. It was awful. But yeah, that's the big blot on last night. Look, I know there was faults, there was errors. Of course there is when you concede 3 goals in a 7-goal thriller. But Fabian Schär going off, is the big worry. Wow, that game had everything last night, didn't it? Like I said, it had the 7 goals, it had the drama, it had another awful refereeing performance with his stop-start decisions, should I say. And he had the what's the little thing on his arm? He's like his upper arm. I think it's connected to like his headset, but again, that was more disruptive in the game. He kept going over to the sidelines at the east stand and getting that changed. So that just added to the stop-start nature of the game. And he made a few questionable decisions. However, I've seen a couple back this morning, especially the disallowed goal for Fabian Schär was in front of us, but we couldn't really see what it was disallowed for. We thought it was given for a foul, but it actually looks more like that he's punched it out of Perry's hand. But yeah, look, I'm glad that football's won in the end, because look, Leeds lost. Yes, they did. They'll be devastated, conceding the latest goal ever recorded in Premier League history. Harvey Barnes recorded the latest ever goal. And yes, Leeds will be down, Leeds will be gutted. But you know what? I'll say this. Yes, I know it's easier said when you've won, but you can see why they were unbeaten in 7 games. And they give us such a tough game last night. I feel they'll feel hard done by not going home with a point. I even said when I was leaving the game last night, because I took my car, as you know, it's dry January, and I thought with the game not being finished till 10:15, not probably getting out the ground till 10:30, I just parked my car not far away from the ground. And then we got away easily. I dropped all the lads off. That's why I'm recording now, because I was on such a high. My emotions were shot all over the place. I even just collapsed on the settee when I got in last night. But before I went to bed, I need to try and calm down. So I just kept watching my phone. I know that's not the best thing to do when you're trying to go to sleep, but I just watched all the highlights possible, and I've done it all again today. And now I'm on my extended lunch break to try and get all these thoughts out my head. But yeah, that's why I took the car last night, because it was such a late game. But I said to one of the lads, Michael, when I was walking away from the ground, I said, look, Leeds will feel hard done by that they didn't go away from that game with a point, because I said even if we'd only got a point, so I thought the teams might have declared when it went to 3-3 after such a barnstorming game, then they would have just accepted a point each. I'm glad they didn't, and we actually found more in the tank to go again. But yeah, I said I would have been happy with a point, but I'm more delighted that we've went on and dug deep and somehow got a 4-3 win. And that just, again, like I said, hark back to my childhood, all the games under Kevin Keegan. And then we even had a few in later years under the likes of Bobby. I mean, everyone remembers the win at Ellen Road in 2001-2, just before Christmas, when we won 4-3, Solano's last minute win after being 3-1 down. But look, I will be honest, does that answer all the questions last night? Of course it doesn't. But you know what? Some of them can be parked for another day. But what it does answer is, can this team come back from a deficit? Yes, they can. Not just once, not twice, but 3 times. Can they actually recover points from a losing position? Yes, they've done it for the first time this season. That's 3 points on the board, because we had 0 before that. And it also shows that this team have heart, they have determination, they have courage, they have endeavour. But yes, I know there'll be a lot of questions that haven't been answered from last night. Again, the big one is Newcastle United can't seem to control the game. And that still points to the fact that we are missing a player who can slow it down. We don't have that player at the moment. We always seem to be heavy metal, hell for leather. But look, I'm not complaining. Look, a 4-3 win. We can go over the intricacies of all the errors that were made another day. Well, obviously I'm going to go through a few of them today, but I'm not going to go in depth. I'm going to try and unpick all those 7 goals in the game in a moment. Look, I will constructively go through the goals, but I'm not going to stand here and pick apart players when all of them have contributed in some way, whether good or bad, to a 4-3 win, because you can't. To come back 3 times after being behind against a team who are in form, against a striker who's in form, in Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Leeds started better. Newcastle United struggled to get a foothold. They struggled to get any rhythm going, any consistency in the match. But you know what? That is credit to Leeds United, because Leeds started like we have in previous seasons. They came here with a game plan. Yes, there was times where they were running the clock down, like most teams do, to try and quiet the crowd at St James's. They're going over for niggly fouls, but the problem with that is the referee was falling for it and giving it. That's where I mean where the refereeing performance was frustrating, and that was all we could talk about at half time. But I'm glad in the end I'm not going to talk about it too much, because football was the winner in the end. But yeah, Leeds came here with a game plan and it was working. They had an early chance. They came in from the left-hand side. Ball was given to Stack. He shot straight at Nick Pope. But then Newcastle United went up the other end. Lewis Hall played a ball into the far post. Malik Chow headed back into the danger area. Perry went up to try and catch the ball. But then it looked like he dropped it, and Fabian Schär then just tapped it into an empty net. But then it was ruled out. To the fury of the Gallagher in the corner, we were furious. We couldn't understand why the goal wasn't given. But I will admit, I have seen it back this morning, and it looks like that Fabian Schär did punch it out of the goalkeeper's hands. It wasn't a foul in the end, so I can understand his reasons for that. So I'll forgive him for that one. But then Leeds went up the other end and scored, put under a bit of pressure in the ball after we faced our own goal. Came to Lewis Miley. Lewis Miley played it inside to Malik Chow. Malik Chow tried to carry it forward. He slipped, fell over. Dominic Calvert-Lewin picked up the loose ball, and then he played it through for Aronson, who drilled it past Nick Pope. Now, could Nick Pope have done a bit better with that one? Maybe, looking at it back, but look, I'll give the American credit. It was a decent finish. But then, you know what? It woke Newcastle United up from their sleep, because before that, we didn't really lay a glove, bar Schär's disallowed goal on Leeds. But then Bruno had the ball on the right. He played to Lewis Miley. Lewis Miley put a cross into the box. It was headed back to Bruno. Bruno then done a header. Oh, I've just nearly slipped. Bruno done a lovely little header over the defender to Anthony Gordon. Gordon then lifted it over the defender, and then when it came down, he managed to do a lovely touch to Nick Voltemada. And Nick Voltemada, who didn't really do much in the game, he was pretty anonymous, done his one of his only 2 contributions, where he done a little layoff to Harvey Barnes, and Harvey Barnes passed it into the back of the net. That was 1-1. Newcastle United's tails were up. Then we got another opportunity. We had a free kick on the left-hand side near the east stand. Anthony Gordon whipped in a lovely ball, and then it looked like it got a touch off Lewis Miley, but on second glances, when I've looked at the replays, it looked like it just went all the way through and hit the upright and came back out. But then a big blow. After we win the ascendancy, Leeds United regained the lead. But then I come back to the referee, where his poor decisions came in. Ilya Gruev put a free kick in to the far post. Stack headed it back across goal, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, looking at him, was like this on top of Malik Chow. Malik Chow handled it. We couldn't see why the referee had give the penalty, but then the VAR call, like they came over the PA saying checking for possible handball. Seeing it back, yes, he handballs it, but the reason he handballs it is because Calvert-Lewin's all over him. So that is such a harsh decision. What is he meant to do? He's literally like this. Where's he meant to go? So that was just such a poor decision. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin, being in the form that he's in, he's found a new lease of life since he left Everton and went to Leeds United. And he dispatched his penalty, sending Nick Pope the wrong way. So there was a horrible sense of injustice going in to the break, because just before that, Joe Linton was played through into the box, and then he went over. Look, do I think it was a pen? No. But was it a dive? Also no. I just think Joe Linton lost his footing, and he was absolutely furious. Obviously, didn't go down for an early drink, doing dry January, so stayed till the whistle went. And Joe Linton was apoplectic. He wanted to go over and strangle the referee, and I'm sure 50,000 others did as well for some of his decision making. But they held Joe Linton back, and then we went into the break 2-1 down. Half-time substitutions though. Start of the second half, the ineffective Sandro Tonali and Malik Chow. Malik Chow had his worst game since he signed for because obviously he gave away the handball. He also, I forgot to mention, his early yellow card 7 minutes in. I don't know what he was doing cleaning that player out, but he was never getting there. So that was a bit stupid from Chow, and it showed, because it put him on tenterhooks the rest of the game. He was so reluctant to dive into challenges and try and win the ball. So yeah, I think that affected his performance. I don't know why he dived in on the east stand on that player. It was a certain yellow card and he inevitably got it. But yeah, Chow came off, and Tonali again better defensively, but again not offering much offensively. He was giving the ball away a lot, so he came off, and Tino Livramento came on. So it was Livramento at right back, and Lewis Miley went into midfield, and Sven Botman was in there alongside Fabian Schär. And then the subs seemed to work because it gave her a new impetus. We had more energy about her, and then lo and behold, we made it 2-2. Bruno had it, and he looked to play it to Miley on the right. Looked like he overhit it. It was going out for a goal kick, but then Miley fantastically kept it in when it looked like the odds were against him. He managed to find it back to Bruno, and then Bruno, rather audaciously with the outside of his foot, put in a lovely low cross that came straight onto the head of Joe Linton. Couldn't see how he'd done it at the time, we will admit, but the way he turned, got his neck muscles on there, and managed to guide it into the far corner. That was an excellent header, and you thought, great, 2-2. We've got the wind in with sails. Can we continue like we did when it was 1-1 in the first half and push on? But this time, not concede. But then there was a flurry of chances for both teams. Leeds were up the other end. Biol managed to get in the box and pull it back for Calvert-Lewin, but Fabian Schär, who, like I've said, had a fantastic game before he unfortunately had to go off with an ankle injury, done a wonderful interception right in front of the goalkeeper to stop a certain tap-in for Calvert-Lewin. And then up the other end, we had our own chances as well. Harvey Barnes had on the right, played a lovely cross across the face for Lewis Hall, but the defender got a touch and it went out for a corner. From the resultant corner, Bruno chucked it in, and then it was just a game of pinball. All over the place was the ball. Couldn't even see what was happening. I've seen it back today when I've watched the highlights back, and it looks like Miley has a chance. Doesn't take it. Joe Linton has a swing at it. Then it comes to Harvey Barnes somehow at the far post. He has a swing. Voltemara, his one chance of the game. He has a chance. And then that's it's eventually cleared. But then I think it was given for a foul, to the frustration of the crowd yet again. And then Leeds went up the other end. Goodmanson swung in a beautiful cross. Nick Pope, though, for some reason, didn't need to leave his goal line. Came out in no man's land, slipped, and James Justin hit the underside of the bar. Nick Pope got away with one there, because that could have easily been 3-2. So that was a massive let-off. But then Leeds went and made it 3-2. On the front foot, we had a bit of the momentum. Bruno had it, tried to play it to Wissa. Wissa tried to get a touch on it and play it to Ramsey. Both of them got it horribly wrong. And then Leeds broke. Gruyev played the ball through for Aronson. Sven Botman didn't close the angle down good enough, and then he drilled it into the far corner, hit the post and went in. And you know what? Leeds were good value for it. I know that was only their first attempt, second half, but they'd been playing a good game, in all fairness to them. But it was like, how can Newcastle United respond? And then we had a flurry of corners. Corner came in, Sven Botman had a chance cleared off the line. Then the next corner came in, it fell to Johan Wissa. He volleyed wide, and then we'll put a third corner in. And then this time the keeper punched it. It came to Jacob Murphy. He played it out to the right to Lewis Hall. His cross was sent in, but then it hit the arm of Brendan Aronson. He turned from hero to zero. He tried to protest it was outside the box, but it was just in when you look at replays. And then Bruno stepped up for the penalty, and now he's in his best ever goal scoring season with 8 goals. And look, I'll admit, I felt Joe Linton put himself about again. He was Joe Linton was aggressive. He had bite. He took his goal well. Again, he was trying to be creative and make attacks happen, but he was everywhere. Like Tonali, Bruno gave a few balls away, and he was trying little flicks that didn't come off. But you know what? One thing you can never criticise Bruno for, and I will defend Bruno with my life like he's a child, because even when he doesn't have his best game, he still steps up and delivers in big moments, and that's what captains do. And he done that again yesterday. He scored that penalty, pressure penalty, 91st minute to make it 3-3. So he done the assist for Joe Linton. He scores a pressure pen in the 91st minute. And then at the end, when you're thinking, right, are both teams declared? That's it. We'll shake hands, accept the draw. Nope. Newcastle United found an extra wind and they wanted to go for that win. And my God, it was absolute bedlam. It was just chaos. It was limbs. Bruno crossed that ball in from the left-hand side. It looked like a foul on Sven Botman. The ball wriggled loose to Harvey Barnes. Harvey Barnes couldn't find a shot, had his back to goal, somehow then turned, hit it, and it squirmed just under Perry. And my God, these scenes, the limbs, the noise, it was brilliant. And that's why I've had a chest infection. That's why I sounded like Sean Dyche on Sunday. That's why I'm a bit croaky again today, because I just got my voice back after feeling under the weather. And then what happens? Newcastle United deliver and they make your voice ruined yet again. But that was absolutely worth it. That was so worth it for that moment. That was epic. That was bedlam. That is why we pay so much to follow our club, home, away, wherever. We'll pay for the cup schemes, we'll pay for season tickets, and it's all worth it for moments like that. Imagine not liking football. My God, that was just unbelievable. And that game will live long in the memory, because that's now us up to 6th place. Liverpool play tonight. We've went above the Mackhams. They're absolutely devastated after they got smashed at Brentford. We are above Chelsea. We're above Man U. And look at it as well. Liverpool tonight are at Arsenal. And for once, even though I dislike Mikel Arteta, I will actually be cheering for Arsenal. Because, let's face it, they're gone, City are gone. Villa, we'll wait and see, because we've still got them to play. It's still a bit of a gap. But yeah, the top two are done for me, so they'll pull clear. So obviously I want to support them, because the team we can most likely catch now is Liverpool, only 2 points behind them. So yes, it's very exciting, it's very tasty, but that was such a monumental win last night. Just, it's getting the monkey off our back, isn't it? It's like the first time we've recovered points from a losing position. We're into the European place. It's the highest we've been all season. We've got 3 consecutive wins, the first time we've done that this season. But now we've got to rest weary legs, reset, recharge, and try and go again this Saturday against Bournemouth. Eddie Howe's kryptonite team, as I always call them for us. We can never seem to beat them, but they're been in a bit of a slump. They hadn't won in 11 games, but they got an absolutely epic 3-2 win last night against Spurs. But Antoine Semenyo is rumoured that was his last game, scoring in the 95th minute. So if he's not there, then that's a big boost for us. But there's likely to be changes, because Bournemouth obviously concentrating on survival. We'll make changes because, let's admit it, City is bigger on Tuesday night. That game is massive. But look at it this way. For anyone doubting Eddie Howe, he's turned it around again. We have got 3 consecutive wins. We're now in the top 6. Couple of points off the Champions League places. We're still in all competitions. We've got Champions League football still to come. What more can you ask for? Eddie Howe, he is the man. You've got to back him. Yes, you can constructively criticise, but saying you want him out and not backing it up with anyone or any good reasons is just nonsense. So Eddie Howe in all the way for me. But anyway, that's it from me for now. Somehow I've managed to sum up that game and not break my neck, because it is very icy out here. That will live long in the memory. That will live long forever. Honestly, that was absolutely fantastic. That had all the hallmarks of a Kevin Keegan game. Like I said, football, it's mental. Like, I can't believe anyone who doesn't like it. For moments like that, that is what the game is all about. 2 great teams delivering an absolutely fantastic spectacle. Unfortunately, we've come out on the right side of it, but that was a win for football last night. And that is football writing a script unprompted, when what's happened to our club legend in King Kev coming out with a 4-3 humdinger. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please like, please comment, please subscribe, and I will be back after our game on Saturday when we played Bournemouth. I will try this time and record it outside St James's Park, because it is a bit of an earlier kick-off this time, not 8:15, but 3 o'clock. So yeah, I'll record my post-match reaction then. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your working week, everyone, and I'm off to see the new Avatar tonight. So for now, take care. Bye-bye.